Nowadays, all of us are riding our bicycles more frequently and for greater distances when we do ride. So it's time that we have some straight talk about defensive bike riding. We're not going to recite the rules of the road. Your bicycle owner's manual presents the rules of the road. Such things as obey all applicable traffic regulations, don't hitch rides, keep right, ride single file, don't ride double, have regular safety inspections, and so on. You should review these rules of the road and follow them, but that's not our purpose here. Instead, let's take a bicycle ride together through the medium of film, get down to the nitty-gritty of what it's really like to ride in traffic and how to do it better. This has to begin with our attitude about the bicycle itself. Because the bicycle is a legal road vehicle, you should license and register it. It's not a toy, and you shouldn't think of it as a toy. And you should obey all applicable traffic laws and rules. One more thing before we go on the road. Does your bike fit you correctly? This is extremely important in your ability to control your bike safely. Can you straddle the frame comfortably with both feet flat on the ground? The saddle top should be parallel with the top bar or tilted slightly upward. It should never be tilted down. The saddle height should be set so that with the ball of your foot on the pedal, at the bottom of the pedal stroke, your knee will have a slight bend. This will add greatly to your comfort as well as to your control of the bike. The techniques of mounting and dismounting are fundamentals of controlled expert bicycle riding that you should be careful not to neglect. Lean your bicycle toward you and step over it. Position the far side pedal at the 11 o'clock position. With one foot firmly on the ground and the ball of the other foot on the pedal, check for obstructions ahead and traffic from the rear. Then push off firmly, shifting your weight onto the raised pedal. Lift yourself onto the saddle without wobbling or swerving. Mastery of this fundamental mounting technique can be very important to you when starting from a busy intersection in heavy traffic. A simple thing like riding straight without wobbling or weaving is something you probably don't do as well as you think you do. Practice it. Can you maintain a straight, steady course while you look back over your shoulder at oncoming traffic or a fellow rider? Practice it. Can you maintain a straight, steady course while you remove one hand from the handlebar to shift gears or to give a hand signal? Practice it. Yes, drill the fundamentals while you ride the quiet, secluded streets, because when you hit traffic on the busier streets, you'll want the fundamentals to be automatic. When you get into this kind of traffic, you'll become aware of the striking difference between riding a bike and driving an automobile. On a bike, you're not encased in 4,000 pounds of steel and glass with a seat belt and a shoulder harness to protect you in the event of a collision. You are vulnerable. You have no protection in the event of a collision. You must avoid a collision at all times, whether you are in the right or not, whether the situation is fair or unfair. You must avoid collision. That's the simple fact of life on a bicycle. For example, as you approach a very busy intersection, desiring to make a left turn, don't try to turn left the way an automobile does. Instead, proceed carefully through the intersection. Watch for cars making right turns. And left turns. Wait for the signal to change, and then proceed. You can get used to the sights and sounds of traffic on your bicycle and learn to interpret them. Squealing tires and red lights, trouble ahead, slow down, get ready to get off the roadway if necessary. Here comes a big one. Stay as far right as possible. Let him pass before the intersection. Defensive driving is a matter of listening and looking for clues to the unexpected. When passing parked cars, be especially alert. Always be ready for an emergency stop. It happens all the time because they don't see you, so you have to watch for them. The emergency stop is another fundamental skill you should drill on. It's a skill you may need any time. When making an emergency stop, it's best to use the standard brake levers for greater braking power as well as for increased body balance and control. At the beginning of every trip you take on a bike, make a rolling check of your brakes to make sure they work and haven't been tampered with. And if they're not right, get them right. With caliper brakes, make sure you hit the rear brakes first and hardest. If you're on wet pavement, recheck the stopping power of your brakes. It's not the same. It takes longer to stop. One other thing about brakes. Some people ride on flat streets and roads so much that they never really know how much more time it takes to stop on a steep hill. It's well worth it to look for a hill someday and find out, and take it easy until you do. On a bicycle, sometimes a good road surface can suddenly turn treacherous. Even at 10 to 12 miles per hour, a moderate, comfortable speed on a bike, a patch of loose gravel, sand, or a patch of grease can come on very quickly. It's best to coast straight through if you can, avoiding sharp turns if possible. If you suddenly encounter railroad tracks or other unavoidable rough surface, then think light. Use your arms and legs as shock absorbers. The other most serious problem with railroad tracks is the angle at which you cross them. Always cross as close to 90 degrees as possible to avoid a serious fall. The same kind of hazard exists when you turn into many driveways. Finally, although your bike comes equipped with front, rear, and side reflectors as well as pedal reflectors, the fact is that reflectors alone are not enough. That's why most states require by law that you must use good, effective lights if you ride at night. Not only do lights make you more visible to motorists, but they also help you see the road surface ahead. Yes, on a bicycle you can go wherever you want to, door to door. The bicycle is a quiet, efficient pleasure machine. And defensive bike riding is the key to getting from one place to another safely, comfortably, and conveniently. So remember, obey the rules of the road. License and register your bike. Ride only a well-fitted bike. Drill the fundamentals of smooth mounting and dismounting, of straight-line riding and emergency stops. Use good judgment and special caution in heavy traffic situations. Check your brakes often and maintain them in good condition. Watch for sudden changes in road surface conditions. And use lights as well as reflectors. In these ways, you can really enjoy safe and pleasant bicycle transportation.